to the Freedym Show. My name is Ryan Lee, the founder of Freedym.com, the number one resource for heart-centered lifestyle entrepreneurs. And right now you're listening to the Freedym Show. This is the daily show featuring 10 minutes of the best fluff-free advice showing you how to become a true lifestyle entrepreneur. Because it's not just about the money, it's about the freedom. And if you want a free special gift, just head on over to Freedym.com, Freedym.com, or text the word Freedym, Freedym, to the number 33444, and you will get my best business advice all condensed to just 3 pages. Now today, we've got an episode that's a little bit different than things you've heard in the past. What we're doing is we are talking to my very own intellectual property and trademark attorney, Renee Duff. So this is a really important topic, and there's no one I trust more to handle all of our trademarks, copyrights, all that stuff than Renee. I've referred a lot of clients over to her. I trust her 100%. She's incredible. She really knows her stuff, and we're going to talk about that today. To learn more about Renee, go to her website, rldpc.com. That's rldpc.com. Renee, we are ready to have some fun talking trademarks. Are you ready?
I am ready. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, I'm so excited. There's nothing more than I love talking to attorneys about trademarks. But we're going to be the first ones to make this fun. So, Renee, let's just do a real brief difference, because I get this question a lot. I know the difference, but explain the difference between a trademark and a copyright.
That is a common question and
right.
A common misconception.
Mm-hmm.
Trademarks and copyrights are two completely different things, but they can work together. So what I usually explain a trademark as, or the easiest way to think of a trademark, is that it's your brand. It's the name that, people will go to look for. So, always an example of, how do people find you? What are they coming to buy? So think of it as your brand name, and, that's your trademark. But then if you're talking copyright a lot of time is your content. So if you've done some type of a program, or you've done a movie, or you've done a song, it's the actual written or otherwise, basically the legal term is it's fixed in a tangible medium, but it's your actual words and song and any other thing that you put down. So a painting, a photograph. There's all these different things that constitute a copyright. So they're 2 separate items.
And what I want to talk today more about is trademark. Now, you are the one who's personally handling the trademark process for this show. Freedym, the Freedym Show, the whole Freedym brand. And before I ever launch anything, I always talk to you first to make sure it's clear. Can you also explain briefly that a trademark can take place in different classes? People don't understand the difference with class. And by the way, just a legal disclaimer. This is not legal advice, right? You always hire an attorney. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly.
So just explain the classes.
The classes, it's very interesting because most people don't realize that the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or the U.S. Trademark Office, has basically taken everything in the world and categorized it into these 45 classes of goods and services. So you have classes 1 through 34, which are all goods, and then 35 through 45, which are services. So when you get a trademark, you don't just get it and then have it to cover everything. There's very few trademarks in the world that are that famous and that broad coverage that are out there. So when you file, you basically, you're looking in the class that you have your service or your product in. So anything like any downloadable audios or videos or downloadable ebooks and things along those lines are considered a good, actually, in class 9. And then, like, if you're doing a podcast, that type of service is considered a service, and that goes into class 41. So they are, so you don't get protection for everything in the world. You get protection for the particular good or the service that you are providing.
So to give people an idea, I can get Freedym trademarked under one class that protects its service as a show, but not necessarily as a product or a a health club or a soda, right? Those are all different categories, and there's different fees associated with submitting it to different categories.
Right, and that's why people sometimes get confused, because the example that a lot of people understand is if you think about like the word Delta. So Delta Airlines owns the word Delta for, airline services and the things that they do, but then there's also Delta Faucets that owns it for, their faucets and their appliance type of stuff.
Right.
So yes, and each class, and this is where when you're considering filing trademarks, there's a government fee to file for each class. And so, that's when the numbers start to add up, because those government fees are, they're not insignificant, but they're not, ultra significant.
Yeah. Now, again, general advice, this is not specific legal advice, but your opinion, when is it worth filing a trademark? When is it not? So if someone's just starting out and they have an idea for an ebook, and let's say it's called, the 9-week ab solution, and it's going to be a digital product, is it worth filing a trademark? Is it not? Does it depend on factors? What's your advice?
the typical lawyer answer, it depends.
Right, of course.
It's really, a lot of times what I tell people is it is always, always, always a good idea to at least do a search to make sure that you're not infringing on somebody else's right. So this way, if you're going to go out there and start and put something out there and somebody else is already doing it under that same name, then you have a problem. But, you don't necessarily have to file for trademark rights to attach to what you do, because trademark rights are based on use in commerce. So even if you're out there promoting something and using something, as long as you're not infringing somebody else's rights, you can and you should use the TM symbol, because that basically shows the world that you are claiming that particular phrase or words, to signify your particular brand of goods or services. So, then, and especially for entrepreneurs, I mean, it is, there is an investment in, protecting your trademarks, because the government fees are not super cheap, and sometimes you just have to determine, do I want to spend the money now, or do I want to spend the money later when I, realize that this is a product that's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm. So, and I think people can, they can go on two sides. They could say, look, I'm not going to trademark anything, I'm going to roll the dice. Or there are some people who are so overprotective and they trademark everything, right?
Right.
And they spend $30,000 in trademarks and they don't even have a marketing plan.
Exactly.
So you just want to make sure you just don't go overboard. I mean, that's my non-legal advice. But we have been burned in the past, especially with our supplement company. We had a product out and it wasn't trademarked. We didn't check correctly, and we had to pull all the product off.
Right.
And it could be, especially if you're building a brand, it could be really costly. What are if I were to file a trademark in one category, what are kind of ballpark, like what's the government fee and what are usual attorney fees on top of that?
The government fees are per class. There's two programs they have. One is it's $225 per class, or it's $275 per class. As I was saying before, the government's basically divided everything up into these goods and services, and if what you do falls within this already sort of pre-approved manual that they have, then, and you follow a few other rules, you can file at that lower filing rate. And most of the time you can make it work in there. There's sometimes that you may want to do it at the higher rate. But so, figure $225 to $275 for your government fees. And then, legal fees depend on who you are using. I mean, it's, you could go to something like a LegalZoom and it's not that expensive, but you're getting no advice. Right. So that's usually the problem, or you could even file it on your own. But again, you have no advice on what to do. So it depends on how much advice you are looking to get.
So attorney fees could be anywhere from another $300 to like $1,000 or so.
Somewhere in that ballpark is fair. So.
And I will tell you from personal experience, when I first started, my first trademark I tried in '99, I tried to do it myself. It was rejected. It was a nightmare The legal papers from the government, it was a disaster. The best thing I ever did was find you. You handle everything. And like I said, I've referred you to everybody. So if you were serious about your business and you want someone you could trust, I trust Renee 100%. Check her out at rldpc.com. And I really hope this doesn't sound like a commercial. It's not supposed to be a commercial. I really want to help everyone listening to this. And if you are going to trademark, your products, your programs, your podcast, your certifications, if you're not going to use Renee, I do suggest you use an attorney for guidance, because it can be a tricky process, especially if there are names that you might not even realize. There could be a name that you think is free and clear, but there's a word that sounds like it, right, Renee? Like Freedym could be spelled Freedom. It could be rejected, even though it's not the same.
Exactly. And that's, I agree 100%. Please go get, some advice from an attorney before you do this, because just because it's on the internet and it's easy enough, I can fill out this form. No. There are so many traps for the wary that you don't even want to go there.
No, I've done enough with trademarks where I think I could be a trademark attorney, but I am still hiring Renee. So again, rldpc.com if you're interested in learning more about her. And this is Ryan Lee. We are signing off with another episode of The Freedym Show. Hope you enjoyed this one. This was a very special legal edition of The Freedym Show. And as always, this is not legal advice. This is just for educational purposes. Always consult an attorney before doing any of this stuff. So we are signing off. Have an amazing day, but have no fear, my friend. I will be back tomorrow, every day, 7 days a week. And I'm sure I'll be emailing Renee later to file another trademark. Have a great day. Take care, and bye-bye.